All right, guys, welcome into another episode of the Queen City Soccer Show. I'm your host, Cole Godfrey, joined as always with Level Up Luke and Justin Kurtz. We're here today to talk about the United States men's national team going out with a bit of a whimper in the 2026 World Cup as they fall 4-1 to Belgium. Luke, how you feeling, man?
Um, you know, uh, put a few cheeky bets on the U.S. and Flo Balogun to score. So I don't know if I'm ever going to financially recover from this, in the words of a great American hero.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was not the performance we were hoping for. You got to wonder if Belgium managed to find a little bit of bulletin board material somewhere to motivate them in this one about some topic.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we all
You
know
know,
what was going on with Balogun.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was told, okay, I was told many times that we were going to win so much that we would just get sick of winning. And last night, that looked like a team that had gotten sick of winning. They had no desire to win. They played like uh, literal booty cheeks. It was a pretty poor performance from, I would say, 10 or 11 players out there, and there were a few that I thought showed up and wanted it. Um, Seb Berhalter, has really surprised me this tournament. Might have turned me into a fan. But overall, I mean, we'll talk about it, I guess. But yeah, that was crushing, man. Like the whole country got up for this game. They had made enough positive momentum and progress that we got the casuals. We got the other sports fans who don't even like soccer, never watch it, don't understand it. We got them finally tuning in at this point in the World Cup. And then they go out there and drop the ball. So it's crushing, man. As a soccer fan in the United States, it's crushing. As a
yeah.
fan of the national team, it's crushing. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and I mean, I think let's get into the game itself, and then after the game, we can kind of give our thoughts on what this means for this men's national team and whether or not this tournament was a success or failure in our opinions. Starting off, just real quick, Justin, I'm gonna this game coming out of the first whistle, man. It Belgium goes straight down. A really good shot and a really good save by Matt Freeze. The first real save, big save that he had to make in this entire tournament. And then just a few minutes later in the ninth minute, a ball that gets bounced up in the air and Weston McKennie and Serginho Dest on the second ball in the box that comes down, the ball falls in between them. And they both look at each other like, what? And it leads to Belgium just putting a simple ball across the net, and Ketelaere knocks it home for a 1-0 lead for Belgium. Justin, what did you see on that first goal?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the sort of surprises in the lineup from Belgium. Like, we didn't have Lukaku, De Bruyne, or Doku starting, which I found kind of shocking, but turns out they didn't need it. And you're right on this goal. More than anything, I think to me it's on Dest because he is the one facing away from goal. He's the one who I think is tracking it the best in the air. I think that's his ball to claim and clear. But yeah, we have four players really just standing around. Alex Freeman's over there, too. Like, and just allow Belgium to bring it down in the middle of a crowd and slot it across the face of goal. Unfortunately, Tim Ream is late to take a step. I think that Tim Ream was surprised that nobody stepped up and cleared that ball. I think he was surprised
Yeah.
it came down to a Belgian player. He gets beat at the back post. The killer ghosts in behind him, and he's not aware enough. But I've seen a lot of hate about Tim Ream online, and it feels like a bunch of haters were waiting in the wings to come out with the knives for him. we knew what he was good at. We knew what he was bad at. And, in this case, I think he could have been quicker. I think there's a risk if he's quicker that he turns that ball into his own net past freezes anyway. I think a lot more of this blame has to go on Dest and McKinney and those guys who just let a ball bounce in a dangerous area and do nothing to clear it. And so it's a terrible start to this one. And there is briefly, shortly thereafter, a glimmer of hope. There is another Malik Tillman free kick goal. And Luke, I don't know what you saw there. There was a bit of a deflection, but Tillman from dead ball spots. We talked about Seb Berhalter before the World Cup started, that he was going to be a set piece threat. Malik Tillman, anywhere in front of goal, a little bit to the left of goal, absolutely deadly with these free kicks.
Yeah, we talk about, $1 million games or billion-dollar games in some of these leagues where teams are going up for promotion. Malik Tillman might have scored a $10 million goal because he's going to get a big bump in his pay from a club, a big club somewhere. That is the kind of show that you put on at a World Cup that gets you a new contract. And Malik Tillman could be a superstar of the future after this performance, because 2 free kick goals for the United States, the first and the second that we have scored from a set piece free kick in 50, 60 years as a national team at the World Cup, that puts him on the map for many, many clubs. And just cheers to him. What a shot. What a shot.
Yeah, and I mean, it did take a little bit of a deflection, but I just want to kind of touch. I mean, regardless, still great technique to get it up and put it in a dangerous area. And for 61 seconds, boys, 61 seconds, we were back in this game, and then the second goal happens, and Ketelaere gets his brace, and Justin, I just want to kind of touch on what you were saying as far as everybody, was waiting on a moment to get Tim Ream. Now, the first goal, I don't put on Tim Ream. I mean, yes, could he have tracked De Ketelaere better? Yeah. But like you said, I think that he was anticipating and expecting either Serginho Dest or Weston McKennie to get rid of that ball. However, the second goal, he gets bullied by De Ketelaere. And he's a big dude. I mean, he's 6'5", he's a big dude. But he just gets bullied. But with that being said, the ball shouldn't have came in the box from where it was. Serginho Dest once again being lackadaisical. Alex Freeman coming over to help out too late, and they get the ball in. And like I said, De Ketelaere heads it home for the second, and you're down 2-1.
Yeah, there's maybe an argument that there's a push on Ream. It's kind of weak. I would like to see Ream be stronger there, but I mean, like you said at the start, nobody covered themselves in glory in this match, and it was bad performances all around. We'll talk more about. I think Serginho Dest is not getting enough criticism for his performance here across the match in general. But you do, I think, want Ream to be stronger there. Ream ends up with a SOFA score of 5.4. He's the lowest rated player on the pitch. I think
mean,
it's
hard
maybe a
hard to
little
argue
unfair.
that he was worse than Matt Freese. I mean, Matt Freese does not belong in this national team after this performance. He's been asked for New York City this season. Matt Turner hasn't been spectacular, but I mean, how are we losing out on a goalkeeper like Japan's keeper, who is an American? Like, I believe he was born in America, half Japanese, and decided to play for their national team, but he looked far superior to either Matt Freese or Matt Turner. Freese was terrible, but yeah, Tim Ream, not great.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just so we go into halftime, and We're down 2-1. We come out. As you said, Justin, Serginho Dest was absolutely horrible. I texted this in the group chat. This was the worst I've ever seen Serginho Dest play for this national team. He was so bad that first half. I mean, his passing was not crisp or good. His touches were horrific. He looked slow. He won no duels. He was obviously defensively was just an absolute liability. So we come out in the second half, and credit to Poch. We're gonna, Poch is gonna get some shots, but credit to him for making the change. Uh, Belgium was running our midfield. We could not get the ball off of Belgium. We lost. It seemed like we lost every single duel that there was in that first half. Like it was just one way traffic in that midfield. And so he takes Serginho Dest off, brings on Giovanni Reina. Gio goes into the midfield and he helps out. Like that until the third goal, this was a team that was on the hunt, for the first 10, 15 minutes or 10 to 12 minutes out of halftime. It looked like we were inching closer and closer to that second goal to tie it up. And the reason why this play happens is because we had them pinned back. They just get the ball out of their half. And
Yeah.
Chris Richards does not cover himself in glory in this. But Matt Freeze comes out, and honestly, this is just my take. I could be wrong. I've been wrong once before. I think that Matt Freeze makes the correct decision in coming out and getting the ball. But he doesn't just boot it into Rosette like every other keeper in the world would have done. He tries to pass it and just kind of lay it off to Tim Ring behind him. He gets picked off, and Van Aken scores in the 57th minute, and that was all she wrote. You wasn't scoring two to come back; it just wasn't going to happen. And Matt Freeze, man, it seems like a good guy. I mean, but dude, this will haunt him the rest of his life.
Yeah. I agree with you, Cole. I think he makes the right move stepping up from the back, and he honestly chests it down really well. Like
Yeah.
he controls
Yeah,
the
his first
ball
touch was
well,
great.
but you just gotta kick it then. And I think he digs a foot into the ground in one of the strangest, like it doesn't take a lot to just get rid of the ball there, and instead he manages to boot the ground. I tried to see if because there's a Belgian player on him. I tried to see is there a pullback? Is there some kind of contact that impeded his ability to get rid? Nope. He just absolutely uh, muffs this kick and digs a toe into the turf. And again, I have seen people complaining about Tim Ream in this situation, and you can really miss me with that one because Tim Ream is running back to cover the center of the goal. The ball is
Yeah.
played behind him. All of his momentum is going one direction, and people seem to think that he can just defy the law of physics and stop to get around
Yeah.
and stop this. Ream didn't have a good game. This goal, Ream's not responsible for this.
No,
This
no.
is purely Matt Freeze, and if you say something different, I have to question your understanding of the sport and
Yeah.
physics.
Yeah, and I mean, the build up to that though, I do put a little bit of blame on Chris Richards, but yeah, Tim Ream, there's nothing he could do. There was absolutely nothing he could do. Well, Luke, I want to ask you about something, man. So, 2 minutes after this goal, one Mister Captain, quote unquote, America Christian Pulisic, he comes off with an injury. And we seen it. It was 2 minutes before the goal for Belgium. He gets the ball, drives inside, goes to try to get a shot off, and kicks the Belgian player. And he had a noticeable limp until he went off. But this is the question I'm going to pose to you, Luke. And I posted this on Twitter, and this is genuinely how I feel. I could be wrong. I don't know Christian Pulisic personally, and I'm not in his head, but this is how it looks. This is how the optics look. It's like he took last summer off for the Gold Cup because he wanted to rest, and then the whole entire back half of the season for Milan was not good. His time that he did put in with the men's national team and the friendlies in March and stuff were not good. And then he comes into this World Cup. He plays a phenomenal first 45 minutes against Paraguay and then comes out injured. Misses a massive match against Australia. Comes back, plays in the Turkey match in the second half. The Bosnia match wasn't his best game. Did not play extremely well in that game. Now, granted, you're down to 10 men a good majority of the second half. So just trying to give him a little bit of grace on that. This match, he was atrocious. And it's not just him, it was all your big names. And I've seen it put like this. This was the worst time to have your big players have their worst games. Weston McKennie, his worst game. Tyler Adams, his worst game. Chris Richards, his worst game. Christian Pulisic, horrible. Serginho Dest, horrible. And, Luke, so let me ask you, is Christian Pulisic soft? And did you see what he said after the game? He said, well, I kind of twisted my ankle. And he said, now I'll be good to rest. Landon Donovan said it this way because he commented on that take from Christian Pulisic. And he said, I played the Ghana match in the 2010 World Cup with a tore hamstring. He said, you would have to drag me off of that field. And it looks like he was looking for a reason to come off. He seen where this was going. The moment was too big for him. And he was looking for a way to get out of there. He had 8 duels in the match. He lost 6 of them. What's going on here, Luke?
So, I mean, you talk about the lost duels. He turned over the ball 11 times, 11 lost possession. So, I mean, I almost just want to go back and clip my own comments from like an episode prior to the World Cup where I talked about my feelings on Pulisic. It's, oh man, talk about like ruining a good thing. I don't want to see this dude on another commercial. I don't want to see him on another sponsorship deal. I don't want to see him in a US uniform. I unfortunately he's going to keep playing for the national team, but I don't want him to be the face of the program. I don't want
Yeah.
him to be associated with the program any more than the coach deems absolutely necessary. Give Diego Luna the spotlight, give Tyler Adams the spotlight, give Freeman or Malik Tillman, or I mean, name the player. Give me somebody, Chris Richards, somebody that we can get behind because Christian Pulisic ain't that guy. He's
No.
never had the charisma. He's never really had the likability. He has that kind of boyish charm, good looks, but that's about it, man. He's gotten out there politically in ways that you shouldn't be doing in the soccer world. He's really just made himself a lightning rod for criticism with his behavior, his aloofness, his out of touchness with American values. He's playing over there in Italy, man. Good luck. I don't watch the Italian league. I don't plan on really paying attention to his career at this point. Next World Cup cycle, we'll see. But I mean, he just reinforced every criticism that we had for him prior to this tournament. And I talked about like, is it going to make me eat my words? I would love that. Come out here, score a bunch of goals, get some assists. Prove me wrong, man. Like I was out here saying, I'll be the first one. I'll be glad to take that L if you prove me wrong, because that means the team's succeeding. I don't think he contributed anything to this team in this World Cup cycle. And then for those
Yeah.
comments after the game about, okay, time to take a break. I'll be on a beach somewhere. Good luck, guys. It was fun. I'll see you later. That's just like so out of touch with how we're
Dude.
feeling. I talked about how big of a moment this was. And we need our biggest players to step up in the biggest moments. We have a history going back 150 years of the biggest names in sports in the United States showing up in the biggest moments. That's what made college football, baseball, the national pastime. NFL, NBA. Talk about every sport. You have those heroes who stepped up in the biggest moments. And Pulisic was supposed to be that guy. You talk about the
Yeah.
golden boy from
Yeah.
the youth national team, the youth World Cup. He was being heralded as the next big thing. And then we have that gap generation. Like, we missed the World Cup and Pulisic becomes the face of the program. We lose that generation of the Landon Donovan and Clint Dempsey's, the Tim Howards, and the torch is passed. And you look at the Qatar World Cup and the drama surrounding it, and now we have to talk about this World Cup with the drama surrounding it. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And I can't put it on one person any more than Christian Pulisic.
Yeah, and Justin, I'm going to ask you the same question, but I want to throw in there that I would agree. I would say this: Christian Pulisic is talent-wise is one of the best Americans that's ever come out of America to play. He just is. My concern physically that he's extremely soft and it's not even that I think he shrinks away make no mistake about it. He has been and he is the face of this U.S. men's national team program, and that's the way the national media has made it out to be. And people who don't watch soccer, they could tell you who Christian Pulisic is because he's shoved down their throats. He's got a documentary on him. He's still in the middle of his career, and it's just, but he shrinks away in these big moments. He shrinks away. This was the moment in the 2022 World Cup. He scored against Iran to send you through to the group or to the knockout rounds, and everybody's like, that's his big moment. That's a good moment. But getting out of the group, that should be an expectation for the U.S. This was to get into the quarterfinals, and Christian Pulisic it's not Justin. It's not the fact that he did. He missed a few chances, or he was god awful, not impactful.
I mean, yes, he was bad in this match. We're crashing out at the same point we did in 2022. We're crashing out kind of in a very similar way where we had a Western European squad that had maybe underperformed a little bit through the group stages and everything like that, gets here to the round of 16, and then, we stumble. All of that said, I'm not gonna bury Christian Pulisic. He was one of 10 outfield players and a keeper, and none of them had a good game. I think that he has been set up as the face of the squad, and so I think that he's going to carry more of the blame. I think he was bad, but I think everybody was. I was sitting there and watching the game at the bar, and nobody ahead of the play at any point is out there making runs. Tyler Adams isn't making runs through the midfield. Weston McKennie wasn't making the runs, up the wings that he's been doing before. Serginho Dest was standing still. Christian Pulisic was standing still. But nobody's moving to the ball. Nobody's moving to help. Nobody's doing anything. And, maybe it just Pulisic doesn't want to be the face. I don't know. Maybe he hates that spotlight that much. He's still talented. He still has a place in the U.S. men's national team. He will still be involved, I think, in the next cycle. I do want him to develop a little bit more, whether it's physical or mental fortitude. But those are things that he can still try to work on. He can still try to improve. Tim Ream didn't really hit his stride till his late 20s. There's still time for Christian Pulisic to find a way to be contributory, be effective as a part of this U.S. men's national team. And it's really difficult right now for me to sit here and say any of these people just don't deserve to suit up the next cycle. I can tell you the one I feel that way about is Matt Freese. But as bad as everybody was in this match against Belgium, I'm not ready to throw any of them out into the cold. I think Tim Ream will be out of the next World Cup cycle, but that'll be an age thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, The big thing, and I've seen a lot of a lot of takes from different podcasts nationally that the biggest we all knew coming into this tournament where your biggest liability was in this team, and it was your defense. This team has leaked goals. It is what it is, and you know against against Paraguay, against Australia, and against Bosnia, I throw the asterisk in there with Turkey because this wasn't this team, but I don't know, man. The way that we have struggled when we've played any team like this, like a Belgium or a European team that has real quality. Bosnia is what it is. They're a European team, but I mean, they sat in a low block and waited on us. And I don't know if the U.S. was anticipating Belgium doing that. And when they wasn't, it kind of caught them off guard. I don't know what was going on, but it's it's super frustrating. And I'm going to kick it off like this, guys. I'm going to ask you guys if this World Cup was a success or if this cup was a failure in your eyes. I'm just going to start us off, and I'm just going to say it's twofold for me. I think it was a success in the fact that you had this country behind you. You were setting records in the stadium in attendance. You were setting records in the amount of people watching this team. Um, I live right beside a soccer field, and every time I drive by that soccer field on the way home since this World Cup has started, there's people it don't matter if it's 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, 7 or 8 o'clock at night. There is kids out there playing soccer and people out there playing soccer when there wasn't before this World Cup. And I think that is attributed to this. And I said this on Twitter, and I'll say it again here. I started watching soccer because of the World Cup in 2006. That's what got me interested. In 2010, I become a fanatic, and it's because of the World Cup. And I just, I even though it did not end the way that we wanted it to, does is it's still a very it's so bittersweet, man, because we had so many expectations for this team coming into this match, and unfortunately they went out with a whimper. And I seen a thing that says there's no shame in losing the war as long as you can keep the mission. And that, this team made us believe, and they made us be happy for the whole group stage, and then the Bosnia match. And if they had lost, I don't think it's a big deal that they lost. I think everybody has their expectations as the U.S. This would be a successful World Cup if they got through to the quarterfinals. I think that was mine. I think that was the vast majority of people who actually watched this team. Okay, there was a lot of national, Dave Portnoy's, the Pat McAfee's of the world who we're going to win this thing. It's a failure if you don't win, and that it's just evident and obvious that they don't know. This ain't hockey. This is not the Olympics in hockey. This is a completely different ball game. And the way they went out there and competed in this game leaves a massive sour taste in the end to their World Cup. And what don't help it, Luke and Justin, is the fact that Mexico went out there and played England and played them in one of the best games that you'll see in this World Cup. Canada, yes, they got beat 3-0, but they were in this match until right at the 80th minute or so. They were fighting. They had tenacity. They had I don't know if y'all have ever seen the movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman, but Gene Hackman, they said, what needs to happen for this team to turn it around? He just starts smacking his chest, and he says, we need miles and miles of heart, and it don't look like this team had it last night. And that's what bothers me, because that's the same thing we were bitching and complaining about with this team, Luke, in the Copa America. The same exact thing that we were bitching and complaining about is what we're here doing 2 years later under a new coach. And yes, Poch has a contract extension laid out on his desk. I'm of the firm belief that you don't sign a coach 2 World Cup cycles in a row, no matter who the coach is. I just don't think it's a good thing. I think you need fresh eyes to come in to the pool, because obviously with the next World Cup, you're going to have World Cup qualifying to be able to see who you want for this team. And we've seen how it worked with Greg Berhalter. It's I think that it's time to just and I think Poch is going to regardless. I think he's going to go. He wants to be in a club somewhere. But I'm happy at the eyes that this brought, but I'm sad in the way it went down. What about you, Justin?
I mean, I think that this is a disappointment and a failure of a World Cup from the U.S. men's national team's perspective. I agree with you. I think that the World Cup as an event has been and continues to be an success for the United States in terms of bringing attention to the game. And, in general, there's been positive response to, a lot about the World Cup here. I think as far as the team is concerned and everything, you kind of beat up on a Paraguay team before they realized that they had to try and use the dark arts to make it through. You managed to get by Australia. You lost to Turkey. You beat Bosnia, who really didn't push it. And then you lose now to Belgium. I don't think that we beat anybody we shouldn't, have beaten. And I think we lost to the teams we probably should have lost to, as we looked through everything. We got a little bit of too starry-eyed with the results, just looking at score lines and coming out of the group on top and everything. And it was very frustrating to see them finish that way, but also not the most surprising thing, I don't think. As far as Pochettino is concerned, I'm with you, Cole, but maybe for a different reason. I don't think Mauricio Pochettino should be re-signed. I think he's done an admirable job in 2 years of pulling this team in and making them look good against bad teams. You're right. He wants a job in Europe, or he wants to manage Argentina. Regardless, if you try to sign him for 4 years, he will not play out a 4-year contract with the U.S. men's national team. He will leave partway through that. And I don't want us to have to scramble partway through a qualification cycle to find a different manager or anything like that. I would rather install the right guy in the short term and let him build the program over the next 4 years through the next World Cup final tournament. And I think that the right guy, there has never been a World Cup won by a team whose manager is a different nationality than the team. And I do think that matters. Not in like a jingoistic, anything sort of way. I just think it helps to have a guy that understands the system that these players come from, how they grow up in this space, how they've been trained in the past, how to communicate most effectively with them. And maybe has a little bit of understanding of how grassroots development happens and where to look for talent. And I have a suggested name in mind. And he briefly helmed the U.S. men's national team. And it's a twofold bonus because I do think he would be a great U.S. men's national team manager. And also, it would make a rival for us in the MLS East worse. I think BJ Callahan should be signed to manage the U.S. men's national team through the next cycle.
Yeah. BJ Callahan's a great shout, and I've seen that a ton. Luke, I know you're a massive fan of BJ Callahan, but give us your final thoughts as this U.S. men's national team calls curtains.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you guys know I'm totally 100% straight. I'm a heterosexual man. Let me tell you how much of a straight man I am. I really, totally. But look, if BJ Callahan wanted, to get freaky, I would in a heartbeat. I would absolutely smash. Yeah, so a huge BJ fan here. Everybody hearts of BJ. I think he's the greatest U.S. men's national team coach in history. Present company included, Pochettino. I think Callahan's got you beat in terms of achievements. Win percentage, all that. But yeah, so Justin, great shout. I totally agree. And in terms of this World Cup, is it a success? Yeah, It's a qualified success, right? Because we talked about what are our expectations, what's kind of the minimum, and we talked about the reputation of the United States globally, developing the game of soccer, and we want to make it to the round of 16. So checks all the boxes. We hit the achievements that we laid out beforehand. If we're going to be objective about this, we have to stick to the criteria that we set for ourselves. But what we did not anticipate was the FIFA-ization, the drama that comes with corruption. We didn't anticipate Flo Balogun getting a red card that was not given on the field and was incorrectly VAR'd, and a disputed review process, and a head of state contacting a multinational cabal of corruption, and then the fallout of that whole process, which cast a really dark shadow, a stain on the proceedings, as they've been saying. So yeah, it's a disappointment. And then we go out in the deafening echo of that decision or series of decisions, and we get the doors blown out. We get kicked out of our own house by Belgium in a game in which we never looked competitive. I mean, if we're going to go in there at full strength, I at least want to see a competitive game. If that had been 4-3 or even 4-2, if we had signs of life and the players looked like they cared for being out there and wearing the flag and playing for the crest, like, I wouldn't be so down on it. It's the optics, it's the vibes. Not great, not a good way to go out, especially in that circumstance. Like, this is an event that's going to be talked about for years, for generations. People are going to be talking about that Flo Balogun red card, and it's nothing about Flo Balogun. He performed admirably. He represented himself with nothing but class. Shook hands with the referees after that game, and then comes out and keeps his head down and plays ball. Like, he did nothing wrong. It was the system around him that failed at every step, the FIFAization of the game. So yeah, it's a bad taste. And you talk about, is it a success? Like, yeah, we hit all the criteria, the minimum criteria that we asked for ahead of time. But it's a qualified success because we have to talk about the bad with the good. And does
Yeah,
Pochettino stay on? I mean, I would disagree with both of you. I say yes, Pochettino stay on. I say we lock him up with an iron tight contract, huge buyout. If he wants to go, coach Argentina, they're going to pay us $500 million for the rights. I mean, yeah, lock him up in a ironclad American legal contract. And if he does leave, that's fine. We can find another coach, man. But I think Pochettino's good for this player pool. He didn't have a full World Cup cycle to prepare for this one. So even if you're a fan of one World Cup cycle, that would give him another, 2 years with the U.S.
yeah,
national team.
yeah. And I'll just
But
say, I
I
think
hope
it's
he
because
stays on.
for me, it's because it's more the fact that he, like Justin said, I don't think he's going to be here. I genuinely think that it's a case where he might be here for another year, 2 years, and then halfway through the cycle, go to Napoli or AC Milan or Argentina or whatever it may be, and you're stuck in a tough spot because he's shown interest in other clubs during this cycle, and it's I love dude. You're talking to a Poch guy. He managed my Spurs to a Champions League final. I can assure you, you're not going to find a more of a Poch guy than me. I don't have any issues with. Dude, he come out and owned it after this match. He was like, "Yeah, they were better than us. They wanted it more than us." And he didn't shy away from it. And I like Poch. I just genuinely think that the optics of it make it seem like he wants to be at a club somewhere.
You know who else would make a really good U.S. national team coach?
Who's
Speaking
that?
of Cole, coaches that we have experience with at our favorite clubs, tell me there isn't a better cultural fit for an American soccer head coach than Big Ange. Big
He
Ange
just
would absolutely kill it.
he just got a job. He's just signed a contract with Al Nasser in the Saudi League. He's gonna go be an
Yeah.
Aussie in Saudi Arabia.
I mean, look, man, tell me we haven't ever seen somebody get a big contract from Saudi and leave shortly thereafter.
I know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just guys, I just want to say it has been an absolute pleasure and blast to sit down and do these men's national team games and coverage and all that stuff during this World Cup. I've thoroughly enjoyed it talking with you guys and getting this out to the listeners. And I appreciate your guys' time and your flexibility and willingness to do this. It's we enjoy doing this for you for the listeners, and it's something that we don't take for granted, or at least I can speak for myself. I don't take for granted, and I'm genuinely bummed that the men are gone. My son, bless his heart, last night was a rough one on him, and uh, yeah, man, it was tough last night. I will say this: the World Cup is still going on. Just because the men are out doesn't mean the tournament is over. We had two drastically different games today in Argentina and Egypt and Switzerland and Colombia, but two very, very close matches. And this World Cup has been a great World Cup as far as on the field drama, late goals. It has been an extraordinary World Cup, and it's going to continue. And that we're just now getting to the quarterfinals. So with that, and I want to just say this, and I'll be done ranting. Is I've seen so many takes from people on Twitter and Facebook. Well, all right, that's over with. We'll come back in 4 years when the World Cup is going. Well, I just want to say this: if you're listening to this show and you found this show because of the World Cup, and then you're listening to us right now because the U.S. got beat, and you want to hear people bitch about the World Cup and the U.S. Listen, if you are in this area of where we are, Charlotte, North Carolina, Greenville, South Carolina, go support your hometown clubs. If you're listening to this and you are in El Paso, Texas, go support your hometown club. There is plenty of soccer to go around. As soon as the World Cup is over, the MLS season starts back up, and then we go into Leagues Cup, which is an international tournament where Mexican or Liga MX and MLS play in a tournament, and it's we have our thoughts on it, but it's still good soccer. Is it the Premier League? Is it the Champions League? The UEFA Champions League? No. Is it good soccer? Not all the time, but it is.
Oh, you're really
It,
selling it. No, listen,
it,
it's more fun to watch than Premier League. I will tell you that. Premier League is boring football. It's good, it's high level, it's tactical. MLS is fun, it's exciting. Anything can happen. It has a lot more CONCACAF in it. It gets kind of crazy sometimes.
yeah, which
Premier League,
it adds to the
Premier
drama
League
of
is
it.
great, but it doesn't have all that, man. It doesn't have that kind of drama.
Yeah, and this is what we do here on the Queen City Soccer Show. We cover grassroots here in the Carolinas and mainly Charlotte FC and the MLS. So please
and
continue to support. It helps us. This is what we want to see. We want to see grassroots grow. We want to see MLS grow and get better because if it does, Justin, it helps this men's national team out in the future. Because you're saying people are saying they'll come back in 4 years. Guess what, people? We're not hosting in 4 years. It's not guaranteed. We've seen that in
yep.
2018. It's not a guarantee that the U.S. makes a World Cup. So therefore, get out and support your local soccer. Is all I'm saying.
And when you go out and support your local, you never know if the guy that you're watching is going to be the next guy to pull on this jersey. The best
Right.
player in the history of the U.S. men's national team grew up in Nacogdoches, Texas, running around on dirt fields. And Clint Dempsey, that's where he got that dog in him. And he is the best player to ever pull on the badge for the U.S. men's national team. If you're
Yep.
in this area, Nympha Bershimas, who is in the Charlotte FC system and plays right now for Crown Legacy, has played and starred at the U17 levels, the youth levels for the U.S. men's national team. There is a chance he is involved in this conversation when the next World Cup rolls around or the World Cup after that rolls around. He plays the same position as Christian Pulisic. If Pulisic can't stay healthy, who's to say Nympha's not the next guy up? There's local guys that you can go see now, that 4 years from now you can see them on TV the same way you're watching Christian Pulisic and Tyler Adams right now.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, if Christian Pulisic relaxes too hard at the beach after bombing out of the World Cup, and he's out for a nice leisurely swim, and you hear that beautiful American summer music of dun 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 dun, then guess what, man? Nympho might be our starter for the U.S. national team, and that would be a tragedy. We'd all be very sad. But Nympho could be the starter.
Well,
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, guys. So I'm joking, but like, soccer in the United States is great because it has developed so much in the last 10 years, even. Like, we have so many more teams, so many more communities that are represented with professional and semi-professional clubs all around the country. Like, anywhere you live, you can find good local soccer. We talk about on this podcast, like Cole, we talk about the Hearts of Pine up in Portland, Maine. We talk about
yep.
Vermont Green, like these local communities, smaller communities that have a lot of passion for their teams. You mentioned El Paso Locomotive, right? With um, Danny Rojas from Ted Lasso playing on their team. Like, there's community impact and good storylines anywhere you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's what helped. Like Justin said, Ninfa Bershimas, this is a guy who Bayern Munich is going after for $10 million. This is where they're made. And we're thankful that you're here. We're thankful that you joined us for the World Cup for the men's or the U.S. men's national team. But stay with us. Listen to us. If you like anything we're doing, tell somebody about it. But just real quick, guys, now that we kind of got the U.S. out of the way, the round of 16 is officially over. Um, do you? I mean, we don't have to get
Yeah.
into it real deep, but Colombia today went out on penalties, a massive surprise against Switzerland. I said this in the group chat, and I mean it from the depths of my heart. I said last night. Tonight, or from this point on in the tournament, I am Colombian. And what do? They go out there and get beat today. I am the curse. It doesn't matter what team I pull for. If I pull for you, you're going to lose. So therefore, when I say that, what I mean is I'm pulling for England the rest of the way.
I love it. That's
Well,
the kind of good luck I can get behind. Cool.
they're
Use your
running
jinx
into that.
powers for good.
They're gonna run into that Holland-shaped buzzsaw in Norway in the next round.
Right, right.
I
I am
still
looking forward to seeing Norway and England in Miami on a Saturday night in July.
Yeah.
yeah,
That
So
what a
22
sentence.
players 22 players not ready for the weather. But
I
yeah,
mean,
it's Euros
Norway versus
2.0.
England, historic rivalry.
Absolutely. One does invade the other. Uh no, it's Euros 2.0 like you pointed out guys earlier today. There's 6 UEFA European teams that have made it into this round. Um Morocco, a lot of French-born players on Morocco too. Argentina, some players of German descent.
about to say, I was
There's
getting ready to say, there's a lot of blonde hair out through there.
That's
so yeah,
hilarious. A lot of Euro
it's
representation is what I'm hearing. Yeah.
yeah. Western Europe is riding strong in the 2026 World Cup. France, Morocco, Thursday, Spain, Belgium, Friday, Norway, England, Saturday, Argentina, Switzerland, late Saturday. That's your quarterfinal round. There's some good matchups there. Um, they, I'm honestly most excited about France, Morocco.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, they have so many French-born players on Morocco. I think it'll be a good game. I really do. Before we hop to the quarterfinals, though, I just kind of wanted to kind of take a step back and let's talk about this Argentina-Egypt game today because Argentina come back in the dying embers of this match, and they beat Egypt. They were down 2-0 going into the 80th minute.
Yep.
Romero in the 79th or in the 79th minute, Messi in the 83rd, and then Fernandez in the second minute of stoppage time to win 3-2. A lot of controversy around this one as well.
Yep.
The Egyptian manager has come out and said that once he gets back home to Egypt, he'll never watch another World Cup. And he has thrown out some wild accusations. I can't believe he would make such accusations against such a illustrious and honest organization such as FIFA. Um, Guys, did y'all get a chance to watch this?
Yeah, I got a chance to watch the highlights. I was working when it was when most of it was on, but it is surprising. We have Leo Messi missing getting a PK saved in this one. Egypt really kind of not it's not bossing from the highlights and everything like that, but definitely controlling the scoreline and everything like that. Um and then, like you said, you get some of the late drama about very soft fouls being called to knock Egyptian goals off the scoreboard. Um, Potential soft fouls ignored to leave Argentinian scores on the scoreboard. Um, and then you have the Egyptian manager making the signal for racist comments on the sidelines as he's being booked by the official. Uh, Absolutely wild. Messi was it looked like in tears on the sideline or on the pitch as this one ended.
Yeah.
There is, you know, there is definitely a contingent on the internet who's saying, well, the script writers have got this nailed down here. The script writers have it figured out, and it's definitely going to be Argentina going through.
Yeah.
But I mean, here's the thing. I think that they have struggled now with Cabo Verde and Egypt.
Yeah.
And that does not bode well. They get Switzerland next, which if you've got to pick one of these teams to play in the next round, Switzerland's probably the weakest.
Yeah.
But, after you get through that, they're going to get the winner of Norway, England, if they can get past Switzerland. That's going to be really challenging. Like, I just don't know that this Argentinian side is capable of repeating. They don't look like they've got the sort of the fortitude, they're too weak in too many areas. So it was an interesting match to watch, but I think it just highlighted more of what you've got to be concerned about if you're an Argentinian fan. I just don't think this squad's got it.
Yeah. And I mean, another thing is like it's so hard to win back-to-back World Cups. It's almost impossible. And to be able to, to beat Egypt is one thing, to beat Cabo Verde is one thing. Switzerland looked extremely good in defense. Colombia, bless their hearts, man, that they just didn't have that final touch. They didn't have it in the final third today. But I think, Argentina, the thing is, like, I agree with you that it's almost, Justin, as we've lost Luke here. Luke is gone, so cheers to Luke. As it's like they play down to the level of competition and play up to their competition, and it's hard to count them out. As much as I don't like Messi with Miami, but it's hard to count him out when he's on the field.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. It does seem like they get a little bit of extra help and a little bit of calls when other people don't. And so yeah, with that being said, Argentina and Switzerland will play in the quarterfinals. We know we've already talked about Belgium beating the US 4-1 to advance. They will play Spain in the quarterfinals as they beat Portugal 1-0 in another late dramatic affair. And Marino scores in the first minute of stoppage time in the second half. And dude, Spain, they look like they were just kind of playing with their food in this one. I mean, they dominated this match, and they're still yet to concede a goal in this World Cup. and it's just incredible, man. And it, to me, if you can go out there and stifle, if you don't score, you can't win.
Yeah.
And you know, you got to give credit to Spain, man. I think that it's going to be. I would be shocked if Belgium went out there and beat Spain. And with that being said, Portugal out, which means Cristiano Ronaldo, the absolute soap opera that he is during the World Cup, is now over. He has said himself this was his last one. We'll see if that. I could see him being on the bench for the next one, kind of like a Neymar was in this one for Brazil. But yeah, Spain and Belgium in the quarterfinals. Justin, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't imagine Spain not coming out of this one. They are too good. I'm not sad to see Cristiano Ronaldo go. I say this as a Manchester United fan. The game has passed him by, unfortunately, and I know that he's trying to hold out so that he can keep up this who's better, Messi or Ronaldo debate. The debate's over.
Yeah,
It's been over for a while.
yeah, yep,
Um Messi's just better, and Messi's skills also translate better longer term than
yep,
Ronaldo's skills. Ronaldo's skills were going to fade faster with age. That's just the way it is. It's it's the differences in your game. Um, so I think it is a massive disservice to the Portuguese team that he was there this time. I think it would be even worse if he was there in the next World Cup cycle. But yeah, Spain are such, I think, a difficult matchup for Belgium to try and compete against because they will move the ball through the midfield in a way that the U.S. men's national team didn't. They will attack and probe and pull the Belgian squad out of their shape better. And that will leave gaps for those extremely talented young players that they've got. And, they've got extremely talented young players at the back that I think will be able to marshal and control the defensive side of the game for Spain a lot better. Um, so that one's going to be in LA. France Morocco is the Thursday match, and it's in Foxborough at the Boston Stadium. Obviously not Gillette. But again, this is the one that's most interesting to me because both of these teams, they're similar play styles because they're similar heritage for a lot of these teams or for a lot of these players on these teams. Um, and you're going to see a lot of high flying action. You're going to see maybe not the best defense played all the time. You're going to see some gaps for high flying attacks, and you're going to see high flying attacks. And that's why I'm really excited for this one. I think France should win. I don't know for sure that they can because this Morocco team can do really frisky, really interesting things. And so I'm really interested to see what happens with this one. Do you think, Cole, like location is going to matter for these playing in a 4 o'clock match in Foxborough versus a 3 o'clock match on a Friday in LA? LA SoFi Stadium is an enclosed one. Definitely going to be brighter there. Definitely going to be sunnier.
yeah.
So do you think this location's going to affect stuff? Do you think time of day is going to affect stuff in these? Do you think we talked a little bit about Norway England at 5 o'clock Saturday in Miami? I
Yeah.
definitely think weather's a factor there. But
Oh, for sure.
do you
Yeah,
think it's easier for Spain Belgium playing indoors in LA versus France and Morocco playing outdoors at Foxborough?
for sure. I mean, I just think that I'll say it's easier for if you're playing inside in a controlled environment. It's going to be, definitely for these European teams. I will say this: Morocco did just play. Um, they did just play in the round of 32 down in Mexico. France has played a good bit up in New York, New Jersey, so they should be. They've been here for a month now. They should be pretty accustomed to it as far as playing in the heat. But I do think I agree with you, man. I think that this France Morocco match, I think this is going to be a very, very interesting game in the sense as France has just looked absolutely dominant against every single, you know, uh, I mean, they only beat Paraguay 1-0, but they dominated the match. You know, Paraguay. You talked about it, the way they play, how it,
Mhm.
you know, it does stifle offenses, and it did in this one, but they dominated that game. They were never in any doubt. Um, but Morocco is going to be a test, and
Yeah.
I'm extremely excited to get to see this one, man. This is I think this one, and I'm most excited about this one and Norway and England. Um, I'm interested to see how Morocco played this. Did they, because how they did with the Netherlands, they came out and tried to take the game to the Netherlands, and if they do that to France, that's going to leave room. And if you leave room for Elise and Dembele and Mbappe, it'll be tough. So
Yeah.
I, I I'm excited about those two games. I mean, I want to talk about this one with you though, Justin. England beat Mexico 3-2 down in the Azteca,
Yep.
and just match of the tournament. How much does that England, how they had to play, the fatigue of playing down in Mexico at Azteca, and then the physicality of that game. Jordan Henderson broke his arm, has nothing to do with this. It's just absolutely crazy. And
Yeah.
then having to do that, and then you have to go play Norway. Norway with Holland just being Holland. You know, that's a very interesting game to me too.
Yeah. I mean, England had not to this point looked like a particularly good side through a large portion of the group stage. Um, the Mexico match was a lot of fun to watch. Um,
Yeah.
and they seemed to put it together there. Um, and on one hand, you will say you got to say that that's going to give them a boost of confidence to go down and take a team like Mexico on in a stadium where I think a lot of people had England counted out.
Hmm.
And get that kind of performance. That's a huge boost in confidence. I think they'll have time to recover physically. I don't know if anyone on that England side or really most sides can recover physically enough to prepare yourself to battle Erling Haaland, because he is that quintessential, he will do nothing for 85 minutes and then pop up and score a goal or two.
Yep.
Um, and it feels like when he decides he's gonna, it's almost impossible to stop him. So, I don't know if England have the defenders to control that. I think England are going to have to try to win a shootout if it comes to it, and I'd like to think they could do that, but their wingers haven't been super effective.
Yeah.
It's been Harry Kane and Jude Bellingham that have carried that side most of the way so far. So, um, I I said before, we finished this round of um 16 that whoever won of England and Mexico got the honor of running into the buzzsaw that is Erling Haaland and Norway. And I think Norway are playing really well right now. They're getting kind of hot at the right time. And I think they'll beat England.
Yeah. I think it's a real possibility. I think that, you know, I think either one of two things. I think they're going to run into Norway and Erling Haaland is going to do what Erling Haaland does, or the type of match and the war that they went through in Mexico, down in Mexico, has galvanized them together, and their belief is because talent wise, England is a much more talented side than Norway across the board. Other than maybe Martin Odegaard, but I'd still take Jude Bellingham. And I mean, who would you take, Harry Kane or Erling Haaland? I mean, they're two of the best strikers in the world, respectively. And you know, but I think it's just going to be a good game, man. I really do. And I've seen a lot of stuff from the English folk that I follow talking about. Well, Kwanzaa got a red card, so we're gonna pull in America and appeal. There's a look. I get it, and we're gonna be the butt of the joke for a long time because of this.
Yeah.
And fair enough. But what I will say is that to me, there is a massive difference in what Fuller and Balogun did and what Gerald Kwanzaa did. Gerald Kwanzaa
Yeah.
is a textbook red card going in, studs up, making a tackle. Textbook red card every day of the week. I think everybody that has ever watched more than 2 games of soccer could tell you that versus what Fuller and Balogun did. And I just wanted to kind of throw that out there because that was bugging me.
No, I think that most of what has been said about that has been pretty tongue in cheek. I did see an MP send a letter to Infantino and FIFA, but I do think most of it is joking. I think that it is, poking fun at what the US and, maybe Trump, I don't know, did. But you're right. There's no doubt that what Kwanzaa did was a red card. So I don't think that they're gonna miss him honestly that much for the match. Um, Still, like you said, less crazy than Jordan Henderson breaking his wrist, jumping over the advertising hoardings, and missing the rest of the World Cup. But they're not going to miss Jordan Henderson on the field
No, they're
either.
not.
Jordan Henderson was their Christian Roldan.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
I think I wanted to say this too, Justin. I'm sorry. I meant to bring this up earlier when we were talking about the U.S. men's national team. I got 2 things I want to say. One is, dude, if they'd have brought on Christian Roldan, it would have changed the game on its head. That's a Seattle guy, man. That place would have melted down. No, you know, y'all know how much I like Haji Wright. You and Luke
yeah,
both know that. One thing, and I've been seeing a lot of people actually agree with me that are like in the national media, whatever. In the 72nd minute when Ricardo Pepi comes in, I just I don't I understand why you put in Sebastian Berhalter for Christian Pulisic. Sebastian Berhalter he's got a motor. He's the Brent Bronico of this men's national team. Charlotte FC reference there for our new listeners. But he has a motor. He fires the guys up. You've seen him. He just missed on a volley, and afterwards was screaming like trying to get the tempo up, like let's go. You didn't see that from anybody else, realistically. But when you brought in Ricardo Pepi in the 72nd minute, why didn't you just go ahead and bring on Haji Wright? I mean, I don't know. You're chasing the game. You're down 3-1. To me, throw caution to the wind and bring them on and see what happens. What else is going to happen? You're going to lose 4-1. You're going to lose 5-1. I mean, I just wish that. I know that's nitpicky. I don't. I mean, I get it. I'm being very nitpicky and I'm being very bullish on Haji Wright not getting to play, but I've just watched a lot of soccer in my life, and I've watched him play a lot. I've watched Coventry a lot because of how much I like Haji Wright. And I just think that I don't would it have changed the game? Maybe not, probably not. But I don't think it would have hurt, and I think that it would have gave Haji some confidence. And I seen a couple of takes, Justin, that uh if Balogun, if Patrick Ajimon was on this team, we could have just let Balogun sit down because Patrick could have come in there and he'd have bodied them down, man. But that's a joke for everyone out there. But
I agree with you. So here's the thing, right? Is like if you're throwing on to chase the game, why not both of them?
Yeah,
Why are you not just throwing on if there's no sit back and try to defend something here or do any of that crap. Like you have to win or go home, and you ended up going home. But why not throw them both on and just go nuts and see what you could do? It's not like Weston McKennie was contributing. Like there were players that just weren't contributing. Pull them
yeah,
off and see what somebody else can do in that
yeah,
space. Anthony Robinson wasn't defending. He was not supposed to. He's supposed to be attacking up that wing. Why can't he come off for Haji Wright? Like,
yeah,
eventually he did, he did get subbed off and everything, but if you're chasing the game, bring them both on. Leave
yeah,
Flo Balogun out there. Bring everybody, throw everything at it, you
yeah.
know?
Dude,
And Ricardo Pepi didn't change the game for you.
No,
And you kind of knew. That's the problem I've got with it more than anything else is you kind of knew what Ricardo Pepi wasn't going to be able to do. And Ricardo Pepi was not going to be able to go up top and change the game for you and get you those goals. I think he had shown that where he is very effective is almost playing a false nine, a little bit withdrawn, linking play with wingers rushing in from outside, and then occasionally being the late arriving guy to tap in that drag back across the middle or something like that. I think you knew what Ricardo Pepi was, what he was going to give you. I think that wasn't something that was going to contribute in this particular match because we weren't getting in positions where, a striker, even a withdrawn striker, could link play. So why not? Haji Wright's a different profile. Haji Wright's a different kind of striker than Ricardo Pepi. He's a little bit more direct. He can occupy that space. I don't understand the tactics behind Pepi over Wright.
yeah, I don't either. And Pepe didn't do nothing in this tournament to warrant that. That's my whole issue is if Pepe had went out there, had a couple of assists, the Turkey game where he got the start, he come in, had a goal. You know what? Fair enough, I get it. But that's not what happened. He was ineffective and invisible every time he came on the pitch. And I think I think it's unfair to Haji. Obviously this was the caveat that I don't see what goes on in training. I'm just going based off of what I've seen in Haji Wright previous performances with this men's national team and with Coventry City. But yeah, and another kind of thing that it's really, really, really stood out to me, and another thing that is, if you'd have told me this before the World Cup for this men's national team, that I would have had a hard time believing you, is that Timothy Weah had like 55 minutes of game time this entire World Cup.
Yeah.
The fact that is a thing is crazy to me. And it's not unfair because when he did play against Turkey, he was the worst player on the field just about. And granted, that was on the left side and not his usual side. But yeah, man, I think I think a few people got snubbed here. And which is fair to say, which is fair in the grand scheme of things because the U.S. looked so good in the group stage with their starting 11 that he threw out there in the Paraguay game, the Australia game. So it's kind of hard to criticize. Hindsight's always 20/20. But I would have loved to have seen more of Alex Zendejas. That's my guy. I like Zendejas.
Yep.
And I like Haji Wright, and it was frustrating to not get to see them get a lot of time. Zendejas is another very creative player that when you were down, I personally, like I said earlier, I understand why you brought on Sebastian Berhalter.
Yeah.
As far as a mentality thing, but as a tactical thing and as an attacking thing, I don't know why you don't bring on Alex Zendejas. That's mind-boggling to me. Zendejas is a very, very good attacking creative player for Club America. And this is what I'll end by saying this, Justin. For the 2030 World Cup, I think some of these guys that are on the bench, I like you said, Tim Ream, just age, he's done. The age is just, it is what it is. Matt Freeze, question mark. Alex Freeman, he got stock up in this World Cup. I mean, big stock up in this World Cup. Chris Richards, we know what he is. Jedi, we know what he is. Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Malik Tillman covered himself in glory as far as, on set pieces. And, realistically throughout the tournament, nobody had a good game yesterday. But on the wing, Serginho Dest, not good. I mean, he was good. He was very good against Paraguay, and then he was not himself. He just wasn't as good the rest of even the other games, Australia, and Bosnia. He wasn't what he was in the Paraguay game, and so you're going to have guys like Patrick Agyemang, like Alex Zendejas, like a Diego Luna, like a Aiden Morris, a Tanner Tessman. These guys, I think, are going to get a lot more. Depending on who comes in, if Mauricio Pochettino stays, whatever, these guys are going to get a lot more looks. This team could look a lot different in the 2030 World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you know, maybe it's not Brendan Aronson, but Paxton Aronson may be more involved. I think the Sullivan boys that are in Philly, Kevin's moving to City before long. They have a chance to be involved. I think there's still an opportunity for a guy like Noah Banks, who is a dual national, German and American. Has an opportunity to potentially declare for America. I think you got to make a hard push for him. And there will be names we are not aware of right now that
Yeah.
will make the jump. So again, I'll use this one more time. Go out, watch your local teams, watch your local sides play, support the game wherever you can, support kids playing in the park. That's, right now, one of the big issues, and we've talked about this in our group chats and everything like that, is the pay to play format of a lot of the high level youth soccer in this country. And it's not something that exists in Europe. It's not something that exists in South America in this way. Encourage kids playing in the damn park. Encourage kids getting out there and running around and having fun. Uh, get them, help them do that. Help them find safe
Yep.
times, good times to get out there and kick a ball around and run around and just learn the game. It's the
Yep.
lowest barrier to entry game in existence. You need a ball. That's it. Go support
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Go grow it in this country.
I could not agree more. I really couldn't. And you know, I just want to throw in there that someone who has a child playing in the pay to play system, it ain't cheap, and it ain't
Yeah.
right. I shouldn't have to pay thousands of dollars for my son to play in academy tournaments and academy and club soccer at 12 years old. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And but for him to be able to get that level of competition and to get that quality of play and to get that level of instruction from really, really good coaches, that's what you have to do in this country. Now, I will say, I want to echo what you're saying, Justin, because if you just get out there and play, yes, you might not be able, your family might not be able to afford to send you and to play travel soccer. That's fair, and I sympathize with that. I mean, I just do because I know a ton of kids who are extremely talented, who their parents just can't afford to pay that for them to play.
Yeah.
The caveat being to that is get out there, like you said, Justin, get out there and play. Kick the ball around in the park. Go play pickup games. Go, there is rec soccer. There is the quality's not there like it is in travel soccer. But you can go out there and play. And once you get to middle school, you can play middle school ball. And then you play high school ball. And guess who's watching high school ball? Colleges. And guess who's paying attention to high schoolers who are extremely talented? Professional clubs from all over the world, and colleges, professional clubs from all over the world. So there's
Yeah.
gateways. It's just colleges are going to look at it. Colleges, they also look at academies before they look at high schools. And again, I agree with you, man. I think I've been rambling too much on this episode, but I just want to say again, from me, from the bottom of my heart, thank you to the listeners. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Follow us on socials at QCS Pod. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, whatever you listen to us on YouTube. It's on there, and you can find us at the Queen City Soccer Show on there. And tell your friends about us. Give us a review. Give us the 5 stars if you like it. If you enjoy what our little commentary that we have. Fair enough. Share. Let people know about us, please. And another thing, Justin, and I'm going to leave with this, or I'm going to finish off by talking about this, and that's Charlotte FC is getting ready to take the center stage again after this illustrious World Cup ends. Charlotte FC will be back in action, and that is what we do here on the Queen City Soccer Show. Is we are a Charlotte FC podcast, And just to kind of, it's been a hot minute since they've played a competitive match or any match at all. I just want to throw this out there for our Charlotte FC listeners. Charlotte are back in action July 22nd, 8:15 against the hated Atlanta United. And right now, we are sitting sixth in the Eastern Conference. We have 21 points. We're about sitting right behind New York Red Bulls. They're sitting on 22 points, and we're only 4 points off of fourth place. And we play the New York Red Bulls just 3 days later after Atlanta up in New Jersey. So, two massive, massive matches coming out of the World Cup break for Charlotte FC before they go into Leagues Cup.
Yep. It's an exciting time still. Even with the U.S. men's national team out, there's still exciting football to watch in the World Cup, and there's exciting attention to be paid to Charlotte as this summer transfer window comes to a close, and hopefully we've got new Charlotte FC players to talk about as we move forward.
Yeah.
That's, I think, it from us for today, though. Cole, always great hanging out. Wonderful
Absolutely.
conversation. Looking forward to the next time. And
Yep.
as always, it is
For the crown.
for the crown.